More bad news for Facebook. A new poll showing that users are unmoved by ads on the social networking site. The stock trading 30% below its IPO price. And my next guest says that as long as the market is weak, well, it's a good shorting opportunity. Joining me now is Steve Spencer, a partner at SMB Capital. Steve, thank you for joining us. Yep, we're down 26.11 right now. As you say, par for the course, down about 3% today. When's the onslaught going to finish for this stock?
I think at this point, it may not be until they actually report their first, their quarterly earnings as a public company.
But, you know, the concerns are well-founded, and we just got the results of a new poll that basically 30% of those surveyed are not using Facebook as much, and then a vast majority of those haven't themselves or know anyone who's actually gone to an advert on the site and used it.
Yeah, I think that statistic can be a little bit misleading in the sense that Facebook is not Google. Their primary function is not to drive sales directly through searches.
Yeah.
They're more akin to a television network where people are going there to interact and do things of a social nature and view content that they're interested in.
But how do you monetize it?
Well, if you have, as you mentioned to me earlier, if you have 900 people going there on a regular basis and taking in content, the same way that you would watch a program on TV, if you're taking in content, that brand awareness is going to potentially increase sales for companies. So it's a very different model than Google. I think the other thing that came out in that survey, the fact that there was declining usage amongst 30% of their users, that's probably cause for concern. And I think you can see them taking certain actions related to making sure they have the best content and they're engaging their users. For example, they just took over Instagram, which was known as the #1 app for people to share photos with their friends. The reason why they went after a company that I think was in existence for maybe 1 year at that point is they want to make sure that if you're interacting on a social basis with your friends, with your family, that you're doing it through their application.
Right.
And so they're not going to sit idly by and allow others to come in their space and not make moves.
So where's the bottom? How do you play this stock?
Well, I mean, with the exception of since last Thursday, other than last Thursday, there really hasn't been much buying pressure in the stock.
Yeah.
Every spike in price has been a shorting opportunity.
Right.
And as I mentioned to you earlier, until they report that quarterly numbers as a public company, that first report, they may not have anything that's going to intercede and bottom out that stock price.
Would you agree? Totally botched IPO, overpriced, too many shares out there?
Certainly, there's going to be some heads are going to roll from that.
Yeah, and what does that do for the impact on retail investors?
Well, you know, retail investors basically who are looking at this market since the financial crisis have not had a lot of reason to feel comfortable with getting back involved, and I don't think we've seen them get back involved. This was the thing that I think Morgan and a lot of these bigger companies were hanging their hat on. Let's have this positive IPO, public recognized brand that's going to bring some of these retail investors back. And it was a disaster. NASDAQ botched it. Morgan Stanley mispriced it. And it just adds to the negative feeling amongst the average investor. If I can't even buy a big brand like Facebook and be down 30% in the first couple of weeks, do I really want to be involved in the market?
Very good point. We'll leave it there as, again, down 3% today in a very weak environment. All right, Steve Spencer, thank you very much. SMB Capital Partner. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you.
It's good stuff.
Thanks.
Very good.
It doesn't bode well for the future, though, right?
It doesn't. No.